Bezrat Hashem, Nasev Natzliach. This week's parasha is Vayishlach, and Yaakov Avinu, when he was going to meet with Esav, he sent through messengers, Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim, and he said, Im Lavan Garti, Vaycharad Ata. I lived with Laban, and I remained until now. And he tells him, whatever he tells him in those Pisukim. But Rashi tells us that word Garti, that I lived with Laban, Garti, I lived, is the scramble of Taryag. If you scramble the letters, which is the 613 mitzvot. And Rashi says that that's what he kept. And he didn't learn from his evil ways. Now this Taryag brings us to this whole lecture, actually. So it fits very well with the parasha of the week. First of all, we have to understand something. We're in exile, in the Galut. And what brings this Galut? Why are we here? We are here because, when Tisha B'Av comes around, everyone knows the answer. Sinat Chinam, baseless hatred. And the opposite of that is Ahavat Chinam, or Ahavat Yisrael, love of Israel. That's what's missing. If we had that instead of the other way, the redemption would be here. So that's really what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Sinat Chinam, baseless hatred, not enough love and brotherhood, so to speak, of us, the Jewish family. And that's what we need to correct. So if there's a way to correct that, that will actually usher in the Yemot HaMashiach.
What Yemot mean?
The days of Mashiach. That he should finally get here. We know he's around the corner, but we're just waiting for him. That's what will bring him in much faster if we can actually get our acts together much quicker. Now Hashem has other things. He has other things on the side that he does, which is all part of suffering and Yisurin, which if we don't get our acts together, all that suffering kind of gets us to feel for each other, and that's really why a lot of these things happen. So if we could have a sense or a feel of ahava, love, without Hashem having to do all those things, we can save ourselves from a lot of tragedy. Here and in Israel, you ever notice the brotherhood is more stronger when there's a bomb somewhere? All of a sudden everybody's together and they're praying, and the feeling is different. Even the coldness, sometimes there's a certain coldness that you feel from shul to shul. It's a shame. But when a tragedy happens, all of a sudden even that's not there. It's like you can talk to your friend like a friend. Not that he's judging you and you're somebody else, and I wear this hat and you wear that hat. So it's a shame Hashem has to do that, but He'll do it. He'll do it one way or another to get us to be where we're supposed to be. We're going to love each other one way or another. That's the point. So if we can do it ourselves, we can save ourselves from that. So how do we do it? Just speeches about ahava. We're doing this almost every year on Tisha B'Av. So there's got to be something more stronger type of a medicine maybe that we could take that can actually get us to feel that. It's not just talk. We have to feel the emotion of the love. Not just book smart, and then we go back to judging everybody. That's not the way to do it. So the truth is, the only way to really have a feeling of this ahava is to understand certain principles of creation, of what creation is about, and this will bring us to that. It's always when we're studying, like the Ramchal says, Chokhmat ha'emet, the Chokhmah of truth. It's always to know the broader picture. It's never to just focus in on what you're learning. You have to see the world, how it was built, what Hashem is doing, and what Hashem wants from us. Somehow that will then bring ahava and all the other things together. That's the way a person connects to his Creator, is by studying what that Creator has done. You see? So it's going to be an interesting journey to study some of the things that we might not have been paying attention to, what our Creator has been doing and is always doing, and that affects us. Okay? Okay, the first thing obviously in creation is creation itself. Hashem created the world, it says, Ba'asara ma'amarot, with 10 sayings. And what are the 10 sayings? I mean, we're not going to just say them, but Hashem said, let there be light, let there be the rakia, the shamayim, the firmament, however you translate, and all the let there be's. It doesn't say let there be on all of them, but it says, Vayomer Elokim, and God said. All the Vayomer Elokims is a saying, because Vayomer is a ma'amar. There's 10 ma'amarot that the world was created by. Now the Gemara in Berachot says, but if you look, there's only 9. There's only 9. Where's the 10th? So the 10th is kind of separate from the other 9, and there's a reason for that. It's not really the number 10 we're looking for, it's really where's number 1. Number 1 is the word Bereshit, in the beginning. That word Bereshit was a saying. And that started up everything, and then all the Vayomer Elokims 9 more times brought out those 9. Okay? And that's the world. Now, without getting into it, but just to drop the name, when we talk about the 10 Sfirot, whatever they are, because we really don't know what they are, but we're gonna imagine a little bit what they are now while we talk. But those 10 Sfirot that we hear about so much in Kabbalistic doctrines is really this that Hashem created. Those 10 things make up those 10 things, whatever they are. Okay? Now there's another 10. There's a famous 10 that we know. If anyone wants to guess. There's the 10, very good, the 10 commandments. Aseret HaDibirot. Now that already gives us a little insight into something. There's no coincidence that there's 10 for 10. And this will obviously open up the door to other 10s in the Torah as well. They all kind of connect. But let's just look at the 10 commandments for a second. Hashem's first commandment is Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am Hashem your God. And then the 9 other ones that followed that. Now why do I say it that way? I'll get to that actually. If you count up the 10 commandments, all the letters in the 10 commandments from Anochi until Asher Le'Re'echa, it says V'chol Asher Le'Re'echa, and all that, of your friend, talking about Lo Tachmod, you shall not covet. There's 613 letters.
Nice.
Actually, until the word V'chol and all, and then Asher Le'Re'echa is an extra 7. Which 7?
Nice.
The 7 of Re'echa, your friend the rabbis. The rabbis gave 7 takanot. Like we have to say Hallel, and we have to wash our hands, and the Neirot of Shabbat.
Blessings.
Without getting into them. And Brachot, very good. Those are alluded to also in the 10 commandments. So it's showing you that the 613 are within the 10 commandments. That's the point. You ever wonder why there's 10 commandments? I thought there's 613 commandments. Why is the Torah telling me about 10? Because they're not 10. They're 10 categories. And all the 603 fit into those. You see? That's how it works. The 10 commandments is everything. And all the other mitzvot fit into them. Just give you an example. Moed. Shabbat. I just gave the answer. Shabbat is a time period type of a mitzvah. And so is all the holidays. So the holidays, Pesach, Sukkot, would fit into the Shabbat slot. See? Lo tirtzach, you shall not kill. All the things of damages and hurting someone, you have to pay back, and doctor bills, all these kind of things that we have many halachot on, would fit into that. Monetary damage would be in lo tignov, you shall not steal. You shall not worship other gods. All the avodah zarah would go into that. I think there's 60 or so. Look in the Rambam. He has a whole list called the avodah zarah section. It's funny when we say a cardinal sin, the 3 cardinal sins, Avodah Zarah, etc. It doesn't mean it was only 3. It means 3 categories. So many were in them. Didn't mean they did 3 out of the 613. You see? Now, if you take this, if you add up, you can even do gematria with numbers. If you take the 6, the 6, the 1, and the 3, and you add that up, what does it come to?
Also
10. See, the 613 are part of the 10. And now we get to the Bereshit. If you add 613 equals 10. How much does 10 equal? 1 plus 0 equals 1, which means the 613 flow out of the 10 commandments, but the 10 commandments flow out of the first commandment. I am Hashem. The 613 flow out of the 10, and the 10 themselves are a flow out of the 1. Anochi Hashem Elokecha is really everything.
Nice.
And that corresponds to Bereshit. That's why it's kind of severed from the other 9. It kind of doesn't work with the other 9. It's like its own thing. And the other 9 are even part of that. Okay? Exactly. It's the only God. And everything, which means everything, if a person shouldn't wear shatnez, or a person should wear tzitzit, or a person shouldn't steal from someone, all this comes out of, I am Hashem your God. Not just in theory. We just don't see the connection, but it's all there, because it all testifies to God being who He is. And that's why we do all the 613. But it's through the 10 and through the 1. Now let's look at another parallel. And this is going to start to open up our minds a little bit about what is really here. Okay, we know that we have parts of our body. There's the heart, the lungs, the liver, all the parts. You remember how many parts? A famous thing. We have the 248 organs, and 365 sinews or muscles. They really don't also have so clear about that, but whatever they are. Let's just say 613 parts, okay? We have 613 parts in us that make us. Now we know that we are a model of the Torah. I mean, that's already clear, but I guess I should say it out. The Torah and us are the same thing. Now what does that mean? I'm glad we have some water here. If you have water, this is for demonstration I meant. This is called water. Now if I freeze it, it's called ice. But it's not a different thing. Why is it not different? What's the real name for this? H2O. Right? We all know that. H2O comes in 3 different states or forms. Solid, liquid, gas. Solid is the ice, liquid is the water, and gas is the steam. Good. Same thing, but it's the same thing. It's H2O. Somehow there's a thing that Hashem created